All right, so welcome to another episode of Quite Frankly with me. I am your host, Sheila Tooks. So I'm your girl, Sheila, at the grown folks table. I have a guest host in with me today, Miss Precious Rutledge. So Rutledge, I wanted to, so Precious, tell people just a little bit about yourself before we jump into what we're here to talk about.
Well, absolutely. So my name is Precious Rutland. I'm a certified trichologist as well as the owner and creator of the Institute of Holistic Beauty. And I teach hairstylists, barbers, beauty professionals, hair loss practitioners how to treat their clients' hair loss holistically so that they can get their hair to grow back and just hair restoration overall, a whole mind, body, and spirit approach. What I noticed is that there's a gap, so to speak, in the hair industry where we're so good at styling the hair,
right,
cutting the hair, but hair loss is prevalent, and it starts with the hairstylist and barber, with the client being in the chair. And so no one's filling that gap and teaching the stylists and barbers about looking for preventative measures and what do you need to do when you see that first sight of the client's hair loss before it gets to that point where it's permanent hair loss.
I actually can't wait to kind of dive into this because this is a grown folks table, and a grown folks conversation is hair loss for real. Like, when did it start? When did it start? How to prevent it? All of that. Let's start with your title again. Yeah. So tell the title again. What is your title?
I'm a consultant trichologist.
Trichologist mean what?
So a trichologist is a specialist that specializes in the study of the hair and scalp, meaning the hair anatomy, its structures, skin, scalp conditions.
Okay.
So similar to a dermatologist, except a trichologist is not licensed. We're not able to write medical prescriptions like your dermatologist would. We don't do scalp biopsies, which a dermatology would.
Okay.
Like, a certified trichologist, like, we're more on the holistic side. So we're looking for non-surgical measures to help to restore that hair and give hair solutions before we revert to any type of medications or surgeries, hair transplants. Like, we exhaust all options and do the holistic, godly,
I like
approach.
this. I like it a lot too because I guess culturally, and that's probably we think it's just black women who wear wigs and things like that, but white people or everybody wear wigs. So when you think about what is underneath, what's going on underneath has to be something interesting. Especially after you wear it a long time, even if you don't wear weave or wigs, you get relaxers, and any products and things has to kind of weigh heavy on your hair and your scalp, and nobody even really talks about it. So I can't wait for the conversation. Let's talk about this. Let's start here. What are some reasons that people have hair loss?
Girl, that would be here.
Like a list like this.
With that. But no, just to be short, like, some main reasons that I've been noticed since I've been in the hair industry for 26 years now, I've noticed the main reasons is going to be either because it's a systemic reason, meaning something's going on internally, or it's going to be nutritional, meaning that there's a deficit in the vitamins, the minerals. You're not getting what you need. And that could be due to health-related issues, medical conditions. So now you're on medications. The medications are depleting your vitamins and minerals. If you're not replacing what's being taken out from your body, then of course, that's a sign how it starts to dwindle down from there. Then we have, of course, your hormonals. When your hormones kick into play, that could do a number on your body, as well as like your environment, depending on where you live, what side of town, what side of country. So if you're in an area where there's harsh water, it's harsh on your skin, that can also affect on your hair. So those are just a few of the many things,
that can cause it. Okay, so what about age? Do you see hair loss in all age groups, or does it start like is there like a point where it starts to happen, like when someone gets 30 or 35 or 40, like does there start?
Absolutely no. So I would say like years ago, you would notice hair loss where it would be more so in the 40s and 50s, but now hair loss is starting as early as even your 20s, even before that. And that could be a number of reasons. And this is both men and women. So hair loss does not discriminate against anyone.
Yeah.
And it'll start, of course, as little as, babies. And even, with some of the moms doing the tight hairstyles and putting the braids and extensions in little girls' hair. It can start from there. It can start from, like you mentioned earlier, putting relaxers in little girls' hair too soon, like age of 6, like even before they even get to puberty. So now those chemicals are now interfering with their hormones, their developmental process. Like we don't think about that, like the chemicals that we put, like even with our hair, this hair color, like our liver processes that, like everything we put on our body, it has to get processed out through some way.
So when you think about, or when I think about some of the things that you were just saying, like I'm thinking about children who don't kind of have a choice in their care. One thing I like too is that I like to see there are so many people who are embracing the natural hairstyles.
Yep.
Yeah, and I love that for the little girls. But for those who have chosen to do relaxers and put, to use relaxers on their kids' hair at a certain, like an early age, and the kids don't have a kind of say so, then they maybe just, because usually if your parents or your mom or whomever start to relax your hair, you begin to like the feel of it, the look of it, and you continue to do it kind of as you continue through life, and so. Until one day you start to notice that your hair starts to thin out somewhat. I do know that men, like I've heard my husband say a lot, that men who wear hats, that's how you end up getting a bald spot, because they caps. He said hats or caps or something like that. Are you familiar with anything about hats and caps and men hair loss?
I could just say, just speaking from a standpoint of, I do know, like whether it's a cap, a scarf, or anything that's constantly rubbing across the hair and there's friction, you're sweating, you never take the cap off to let your scalp breathe. So yes, you will experience some thinning going on. In my professional opinion, I think when the men experience hair loss, it's more so due to either genetics, or they just have something going on hormonally, meaning that the testosterone has kicked in. They have excessive testosterone, and now it's causing that enzyme, is now choking the hair follicle and causing it to miniaturize. So I think it's more due to that versus wearing a cap. Now that has some play in it, but I think that will be more hereditary and just daily style.
What is your opinion about, and this is just kind of, you may or may not have an opinion about it at all, but I guess I was going to ask, what is your opinion about when like when people have gone bald or hair loss and they shave all their hair off, and like I've even seen men where they wear the pieces, and I guess people are also looking for their beauty, so that's probably neither here nor there. Because I mean, when you're thinking about trying to look your best or wanting to look a certain way, you're gonna find a way to do that.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's talk about what state are you in? What state do you work out of?
Yeah, I'm currently out of St. Louis, Missouri, but I go all over and I do work virtually.
Okay, and so you teach, and when you say, do you have classes or do you teach one stylist or one barber at a time?
No, actually I do have classes, and then I have my own board certified accredited hair loss program. It's actually my hair regrowth system, and so I'm teaching the hairstylists and barbers, those that want to go to that extra level and level up in their career and be able to open a wider range and be able to actually work with hair loss clients. So those are who I cater to and show them the ropes so that they can have a sustainable business. So these are the people that are looking more than just styling hair. Like they're actually into hair care.
Do you see a lot of that? Do you see a lot of stylists doing that nowadays? Because what it appears, and I say appear because I'm loose. This is very loose when I say it, because if you see, I ain't been to a salon. Like my niece does my hair in her home or in my home. We just got like, I'm easy like that. So, and I've had my hair locked now for about 4 years.
Okay.
So I ain't been to a salon in a while. So when I say this, I may be way out of the loop. So I remember like old school, older people doing more so the hair care and the natural stuff and the hair. Well, I know people doing a lot of natural hair now, but as far as the care of hair was mostly older people. Yeah. But do you see any younger people getting into it nowadays, or what was your?
That was really taking me by surprise, and I'm so grateful that you brought that up. So actually, I've been talking to some of the stylists that are coming out of cosmetology school, because all the clients, the hair loss clients that I'm talking to, they're saying that the stylists now are requiring me to come to them with my hair already shampooed and conditioned.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah,
no,
I've heard that.
I'm like, well, why? I'm like, because that's not what we was taught in cosmetology school. So I was like, well, let me start talking to the schools. And so they was like, no, we teach, hair practices and hair care. So when I began to talk to a hair student, she broke it down for me. I'm like, because please tell me what's going on. So
let me see if I can guess. Does it have to seem like it would have to do with something with maybe the timing? So the faster they can get you in and out, then they can make more money.
That is what she told
me.
And I was like, because to me, when you're in the hair care, I want to use my own products on your hair because I know I'm training that hair. I know what your scalp is doing. Like I just know your hair. But if you can't really trust the client per se to get all those products and things out their hair.
That's true.
And then they get to you, and then they wonder why they don't have the hair growth and what they're looking for, because you still have this product buildup. And like you mentioned earlier, everyone's into the natural, so they're big into wash and goes, and that product is still on your hair. And then if they have scalp conditions, which I just mentioned, so now they have scalp irritation, scalp inflammation, because they're leaving the products on their hair. Some clients aren't even shampooing their hair at all. Like I'm talking about, they're going months at a time, weeks at a time. So I'm like, why would you do that? But yes, I am definitely seeing that now. So then I began to question. I'm like, what is going on? And it just all boils down to the lifestyle that they have. And, the more time I can save, more people I can get into my chair.
And the more money I make. I'm just going to go say for the record, I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't like it because, as we talk about, old school and the way I grew up, when we went to the salon. Now, first of all, I recall Precious going to the salon. This girl had a really bad habit. She would, not a habit, well, she would do it on purpose. She would shampoo you and make so you couldn't leave. I sat in a salon for 8 hours before. I was livid.
How she did that? You just making
Oh my God, listen to me. It was on purpose. This was like many years ago. I was in my 20s. When I swore this and turned me slap off. She would do it every time. But she was so good that I stayed. I kept going. And I would go again and again. But at some point I was like, this is ridiculous. And so when I think about just the personal, feel you get when someone is literally taking care of you. They used to, at least, I don't know if this is the same case now, but people used to have a shampoo person. So so before you get there, or even before the stylists get there, maybe their shampoo person have already started 3 to 4 people. So you just kind of come in and start knocking people out. To me, that's a salon. If I were going to a salon, that's a salon I would want to go to. It is sad though. Now, I just want to say for the record, I don't like the necessarily, because if somebody told me to wash my hair. Now, if it were like mandatory, I would do it. But I'm not I'm not the best washer, so I would be one of the people, like you're saying, like I have so much build up and not doing it, what my hair will be just a hot mess. I will be that girl when I just did not wash it well. So I hope that that people begin to that stand out, even if everyone else is doing one thing or another.
Yeah.
Someone else can say, I choose to do this and handle my business this way, and it began to get granted, financially for that, because when you decide to do something different, you're afraid that people won't like what you do. But if it begins to catch on, then maybe we can get back to some real stuff and people can some real taking care of hair. That would be my thing. So I hope people get back to it. Let's talk about what can people do. So if someone see if they're brushing their hair or combing their hair and they just continue to see chunks of hair coming out, and it's more than that, more than natural, and then they feel like they have hair loss, what's the first thing that they should do?
First thing they should do, I would definitely say get to a hair loss specialist, like a trichologist. If you can't make it to a trichologist, at least go to a dermatologist. But you actually need all three to work with: your hairstylist, the trichologist, and the dermatologist.
Okay.
So it's just getting to that point of knowing when you need to go. Now, granted, some people, they do notice things going on with their hair, but because of life and life issues, they brush it off and figure like, well, I'll get to it, and they'll put themselves on the back burner. Absolutely, they attribute it to stress, and yes, it could be due to stress, but anytime you start losing hair, especially if it's excessively, then it's more than just stress. Like, you need to look into it, because like I said, you're losing hair because it's either systemic or it's nutritional deficiency. So now we need to figure out the puzzle to see, okay, which one is it both? What do we need to change in this lifestyle, in this environment, to help you get your hair back?
So when you teach stylists, do you teach them to, when if someone comes in first and say that they notice hair loss, then do you teach them to question whether or not it's nutritional, environmental, if it is generational, or?
Well, no, we get into that a little bit later, but I train them to at least do a consultation and get a little bit of the history, get a background, get their story. Because if you can start there and see what have they been doing before they came to you, what was going on now since they started noticing hair, then that helps the stylist and guides them, him or her, into, okay, well, this is the hair solution, this is the hair routine that I need to put them on.
Right.
To try to help to manage the hair loss, and then watch it over time, because if it's not getting better within 2 weeks, 30 days, and it's steady progressing, okay, now we need to start referring them out. And so that's where I'm training them to start looking at what is going on with your client and realizing, know your limits, know what's in your scope, and know when you have to refer them. And it's not saying that you're going to lose your client. You're actually showing your authority and your expertise, because now you have someone else on your team and they can help you out. And so together, collectively, you're helping that person get their hair back.
I think too, if someone told me that they thought that it was time for me to see a doctor, I would be thinking like, I like that, because she's paying so close attention to me that she notices that, or he notices that, because there are men who do hair too.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good idea. I hope that for those people who are experiencing hair loss, to really seek somebody. Yeah. Do you have a log, or say for instance, if someone say to you that I've noticed some hair loss, you don't treat people. Do you send them to like a stylist that you trained? Or do you actually treat people?
So at this point, I'm starting to build that directory where I can be able to refer them out to stylists. So when clients come to me, what I'm actually doing is putting them on a hair regimen. So giving them a hair solution, and that can consist of different therapies. So not just a hair product, but like I mentioned earlier, it's about mind, body, and spirit. So you're going to have to stop doing something. I need to change your mindset, get you to change some things in your lifestyle. So for instance, if you weren't eating right. That's playing a role into why your hair is coming out. So now I need you to start back, bringing in the vegetables, drinking the water. Some people don't even drink while you ask them about water. I don't drink, no
and
water.
don't understand why their hair is dry.
So I do give them regimens to do, and then we monitor that. And then another big thing is that I notice is that sometimes with the clients, they put pressure on the stylist because they think when you give them a solution or you have them do a regimen, they want their hair to grow back instantly. And it doesn't work that way. Your hair, you start losing hair over time. It's been years, 10, 15 years, and it's not going to come back instantly. Because now we have to train your body. We have to nourish that body, which in turn is going to nourish the hair follicle.
All right, one last question for you. How did you get into this industry? Like, what made you passionate about hair loss?
So a couple of things happened all at the same time. The first things I would say is that I lost hair myself on 2 occasions. So the first time, I did it just ignorance on fire. I just got my cosmetology license, so I'm coloring, relaxing, doing everything all at the same time that you're not supposed to do. The quick weaves, the glue, pulling out edges here. But for me, you couldn't tell when I lost hair because I knew how to camouflage it really well. And I was like, ooh, I better not do that again, because I was really big on testing the styles, doing everything on myself first before I do it on the client. Now, the second thing that caught me off guard was when I had my second son, and then I lost a lot of hair, just a lot of shedding. At that time, I didn't know it was called postpartum alopecia. But when I was seeking help, didn't nobody really know or understand what I was going through. So then I just began to research on my own. So in the midst while I was dealing with the hair loss, I was also having health issues. So I was diagnosed with, high blood pressure, pre-diabetes. I was obese. So then it was like I had to deal with all of that. And once I started dealing with that health piece, I noticed my hair started coming back. And so then that's how I began to develop my own hair program and system. And I was like, okay, this is what it's going to take to get someone's hair to grow back. And then I just went down that whole rabbit hole.
Okay. So when you say system, do you have products or do you have like a program that someone would purchase or buy, or what's your system?
No, the system is my actual framework.
I got you.
So what I would teach you, walk you step by step and get into the root cause of why your hair is coming out. So yes, products is a part of it, and I do work with different, I wouldn't say vendors, but different people and their product lines, and I'm learning them and I, trying them, testing them out so I can be able to recommend some products. But the real part comes over here to this health piece that I'm talking about. That's the holistic piece of it, because until you can deal with yourself, I don't care how much products we put on our hair, your hair ain't coming back if your body don't have what it needs, if your organs don't have what it needs. And once you replenish the vitamins in your body, they're going to the natural organs that it needs to go to first before it goes to your hair and nails.
That makes sense. How long is your program?
So the program is actually 3 months. And so the stylists, the barbers, they get guided assistance with me step by step. We're going through the system. I'm training them. And then after they're completed the program, they get ongoing support. So it's not just out here, okay, you got this certification, now you're out here. So it's kind of like we go together. So like as I come up and learn things, I'm working with doctors, I'm learning what's new coming out in the hair, per se, hair science. I'm teaching that to them and saying, hey, this is what's coming down the road, start thinking about this.
And so is there, so after someone take your course for 3 months, then is there, so when you continue to learn and you pass to them, do they continue to pay you per month or at a certain time to continue the education?
Yes, so if they decide they want to come back, or they want some additional one-on-one, or they want additional support from me, they're having clients and they want to know, hey, I need some advice on their hair. This is what's going on. I've tried this. It's not working. So if they want additional assistance, I do offer that as well.
Okay. So is there anything that I didn't ask that you want to make sure that you mention to maybe stylists or even someone who is who has noticed that they've started to lose hair?
Okay, so to the stylist, I would just say, especially for the ones that they're looking for hair care, like they know that they're damn good stylists and they do good work, but because of social media influence and the popularity, they're not looking and they're not being seen per se. So I want to just say, don't get deterred from not being seen, but you are really getting noticed, because when you take care of your client's hair and it's growing and it's healthy, meaning that it's not shedding, it's not breaking, that their hair is thriving, they will continue to come to you. So one, you're going to have that client, yes,
and they will tell
other people. So that's what I was getting at. So you see the people on social media, although they have the numbers per se, but are they really in business? Like, what is that financial side looking at it? And so definitely know that when you stay the course, I had to learn this hard way, but when you stay the course, you definitely can build a sustainable business. And then just for clients, I would just say just that awareness piece. And I think where it breaks down is sometimes people don't even know that they're experiencing hair loss, or it is something to be aware of. So for you, I would just say, start paying attention to your body. Stop neglecting. Like, our body is the first sign to tell us when something's wrong. So if something is persistent, you have a certain pain or an ache, or pay attention to what you eat, because it was similar. I'll give you a quick example. I was talking with a client, and she happened to be on blood pressure medication, but I had to get her to see it. And I'm like, okay, when did you start experiencing the dryness with your hair? When did you start experiencing the itchiness? And then I'm like, okay, well, how long ago did you start the medication? Like, when did all this change? And she's like, you know what, Precious? It all started when I was diagnosed with that, and they put me on medication. So it was like, okay. And I was like, okay, then what were you doing with these particular hairstyles? So I was like, so do you think you can change this hairstyle? Because sometimes women get so set in a certain way because our hair is our image. And I totally get it. But if you want healthy hair, then you're going to have to change some things for a little bit so you can get it back into its integrity.
Okay. All right. So there you go. If you guys are experiencing hair loss, you got to find somebody who is willing to actually take care of your hair holistically. Like, you got to find someone who's going to be interested, not just giving your hairstyle, but your hair growth and your hair, the healthiness of your hair, right? If you're a stylist, if you need to add to your repertoire or your arsenal of things that you do in your in your salon, or just just what your service is, then maybe reach out to her and find out what it is that she's offering, so you can offer these people some things, some different things to do, some different ways to do things. Let's tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Yes, absolutely. So I would greatly appreciate it if you all could follow me on Instagram, and I'm on TikTok, so it's at Precious Rutland. So I'm looking to grow my TikTok. The goal is to get to 1,000 followers, so please
spell your last name, Precious.
Oh yes, so it'll be RUT as in Tom LIN. So Precious, like Precious Moments, Rutland. Precious Rutland. And then for those of you that want to go further, and as far as like education, or seeing if my program is a good fit for you, or if you're a salon owner and you're thinking about, even just having some hair loss workshops just to come in and to train your staff and introduce them to natural hair, you can go to teachmetogrowhair.com. and just apply there. Send in your inquiry, and we'll get back to you and set up some time so we could talk.
All right, then there you go. Thank you so much, Precious, for your time. It has been fun as always. Precious and I met a couple of years ago.
It's about 3 years.
It's been about 3 years, about 3 years ago, and she's been just consistent across the board doing what she do, and I appreciate someone who knows what they're doing and able to kind of show people another way of doing things. But I will see you guys again at the grown folks table. All right, y'all.